Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I give you the McLaren. You know, McLaren is one of the true drivers manufacturer. You know why? If you go to McLaren's website and you drop down the menu, the first thing you see is the F1 and other motorsports. So if you want to buy a McLaren's car, you have to click the middle section that says automotive. Buying a McLaren's car is only a division of the entire McLaren's group. The message they are trying to deliver is McLaren's car are made by racer for the racer. And this is the McLaren 600 LT. Well, funny story, if you remember the movie Ford vs Ferrari, in which Ken Miles was racing a Ford GT40 in the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1966. The founder of McLaren Automotive, Mr. Bruce McLaren, happened to be Ken Miles' teammates at the time, which he won the first place dramatically. After the race, Bruce McLaren decided to invest more time in road cars so they can use the money they make to reinvest back into racing motorsports. However, years later, he died in a test drive in Goodwood, the place you may have been to, that is now known for the Goodwood Festival of Speed. So LT means long tail. This is taking the inspiration from McLaren F1 GTR race car. Essentially, this is a 570S, but it makes it longer, wider and lower. If I want to say this car, this is a track animal, but road legal. This car is 74mm longer and 8mm lower with the monocloth carbon fiber chassis. This car is all about aerodynamics. First is the front splitter that channels the air to cool the radiators. And then the air will follow this panel right here all the way to this corner here to cool the engine. Also, the side air intakes is enlarged to make sure maximum air inputs. The panel right here is cut into it with a fin so that can let the turbulence air from the wheel arch to be removed and pass smoothly. And then the most important one is the tailpipe. Because of the high heat, this section here is actually ceramic coated. So that means it doesn't burn. And that's one other benefit. You can actually see the flame from the back of your window. And that is really cool. The bonnet is actually quite big, and you can see this fire extinguisher here to make sure nothing happens. So yeah, I need to show you how to get in and get out. I know this sounds like a first world problem, but it's really difficult because the panel here is so thick and you also need to get into the center. It's a huge distance. So there's a traditional way of doing like a squat like this and then go inside, but I found a better way to get into this car. That means you need to put your leg into the cabin, move your butt to the center of the seats, and now you're fully into it, and then you can put your leg right here. To get out the same way, just move your leg outside and then give a support from your hand, and that's it. Still, it's very difficult. Now it's actually very modern car, so that means you just push the brake and you press the button right here. Now the engine is on. Just a very quick one, because this car is only 4,000 miles. We are not going to drive very high speed, or we are not going to drive very long distance, but I'm just going to show you how it feels like. Okay, here we go. Because this whole thing is actually one single unit carbon fiber chassis, and this seat is also carbon fiber, so it's bolted onto the chassis. So that means you can actually feel every single bump. The braking in the first section, there's no any power. You have to push a little bit harder to feel the braking power. This is still a hydraulic system, so you can actually feel better of the road. The steering is actually very heavy, but it's okay. You go across the bump, you have to go this way and then that way. So this is actually how it feels like living in London. You can't really go fast, and you just need to stop at every single bump. There's a big advantage of owning this car is, so every time you go to a place and if you drive this car, normally you're attracting more people, and that's how you can make an even better collaboration working with each other. So I think that's one of the reasons why you should own a good car and bring the car to some, networking events, and also I'm still trying to get used of the carbon ceramic brakes, because it's so stiff. Yeah, so I haven't got a chance to go full speed, but I can see from the low speed, this car has immense the driving connectivity, and you can communicate with the car more. So yeah, this is how it feels like to drive in London. Remember I said in the beginning, McLaren cars are made by racer for the racer. In fact, McLaren cars are packed with lots of F1 racing technology, which you may not even notice. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you those mind-blowing stuff which I never heard of before. One of the technology they have taken from the racing is to the gearbox. When the gearbox is changing the gears, there's a split second they will cut off the ignition, but still pumping the fuel into it. Once the gearbox has finished the changing, there's so much fuel in the engine. When it ignites the ignition, it will create enormous explosion. You will feel there's a huge push, bang, bang, bang from your back, and that's really crazy. This cannot be described through the words. You have to feel it. One other cool thing is the braking. When the car sensor you're about to brake, it will pre-pressure into the pipeline to give you the maximum pressure to the brakes. And then I need to talk about the doors. This is called the dihedral doors. It doesn't mean it goes up or down. It means the door has two sections. So this is one plain section, and you've got the other section right here. So basically, this is made of two single panels right there. So this idea is from the aeroplane that makes sure when the air channels in, it can stabilize the car. And also the tire is Pirelli Trofeo R, and that's bespoke made specifically for this car. So that's the video for this McLaren 600 LT. It's actually very difficult to film this car because this car is always getting attention from people. So I need to stop and film and stop and film. So as you can see, the kids passing by, they are talking about the cars. So maintenance-wise, we are talking about 1,000 a year for a small service, and then about 3,000 a year for a bigger service. So that's just to give you an idea about how to maintain this car. So yeah, I have to say again, this is not just a supercar, it's more like a racing car for the road. Very relentless. I mean, it's just crazy to drive. So very well done, McLaren. This car is a serious business. See you next one. Ciao, bye bye.